have to say, I love podcasting. I get to talk to the coolest people in school communications. I record it so you can learn too. But most of all, I get fired up every single time I talk to people. And after this interview, and it's not in this interview, but Lori Marini, she is the district learning coach and media specialist at Northern Ozaukee School District in Wisconsin. She's responsible for their social media. She just told me the side story of how she really upped her video game by getting feedback from her 8th grade daughter who watched one of her videos, who Lori was really proud of. She's like, Mom, it's okay, but it's kind of like all your other videos. And that little bit of feedback from her daughter led her to create an awesome video, which we've linked in these show notes, of more of a storytelling video. So I just love how Lori is always committed to making herself better and improving. And you guys are our toughest audience probably is 8th, 9th graders. They're spending all their time right on TikTok and consuming video. They know what makes good video. It can help us get better too. So very excited for you to meet Lori today. She's going to share her role at the school, how she fits social media in. She started out as a teacher and then has morphed into a storytelling role with a learning coach and doing media. She has really advanced her skills and her storytelling and her real marketing efforts by investing in a course. And we're going to share that. And she's going to talk a little bit about that and how she's gotten to dive into some analytics that way. And then she has really doubled down this school year on video. And so we're going to talk a lot about video and what tools she uses to make her video and how that's helped the school district. And then we're going to kind of talk about some of her still biggest struggles and some of her best tips. You guys, you're going to want to hear it all. Lori has a lot to share, so let's not delay anymore. But first, let's get to this week's video tip. Well, it's K-12 PR tip, but it is all about video. Here we go. All right, today's K-12 PR tip is all about video and the importance of sound. Okay, so Lori today is going to talk a little bit about how she's used video to really enhance their social media efforts because their community loves to see what's happening in their school. But there's nothing you can do to edit sound to make it sound better after you've taken the video. And so it's critical that you have a quiet space. If it's outside that the wind isn't blowing, they call it a dead cat, I think, that you put on a microphone out there. But basically, Lori just shared that she just has a little like Rode microphone, which you can look at some wireless mics right on Amazon. Just Google Rode, R-O-D-E, and there's a bunch of microphones there. If you can carry that around in your pocket, and then if you have an interview with somebody, make sure that you're using that. There's also microphones that you can plug right into your phone that are directional so that it will pick up wherever you're facing. And so if that person's talking, you're going to get better sound from them. But you guys, any professional videographer will tell you the importance of sound on a video. So I just really want to urge you, if you're looking to take video to the next step, the next, up your level, maybe investing a small amount, $100, and you can get a little microphone to help you with your video. All right, now let's get to today's interview with Lori Marini. Hello, Lori. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Andrea. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was just marveling at the awesome backdrop. At first, you guys, if you want to watch this on YouTube, Lori is in front of an awesome wall of words. And I thought it was one of the fake Zoom backgrounds, but it wasn't.
No, it is definitely up as inspiration. We have a great innovation room here in district, and it was a great background to be inspired to talk to you today.
Do you have a template of like that graphic that you could share with me?
I'm sure I could get it at some place. We have an in-house kind of graphic designer that he and I worked closely together. We did a Google form out to various stakeholders in the district to tell us words that resemble Ozaukee to you. And we kind of put them together, and bigger words, more people submitted, and we just kind of went from there.
So, or just take a picture of it. And then you guys, for everybody listening right now, in the show notes, we're going to link to this big wall that is in your, what room do you call your?
It's called the innovation room. I'll actually send a picture of the whole room because it's a pretty great space to be in.
Okay. And I just think that would be a really cool thing for other schools to try. And like you said, you get inspired just by looking at all
Yeah.
of these words that bring.
Originally, people said it kind of looks like a sports wall, like you see in like locker rooms of college um, sporting venues. But I'm like, you know what? Everybody needs the same inspiration as high level athletes. So do students, and so do staff, and everybody.
I love it. So we're
Great.
totally off topic already because, I get excited about things, Lori, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to share this. But you are the district learning coach and media specialist at Northern Ozaukee School District in
I
Wisconsin.
am.
I
Mm-hmm.
have been a fan of the work that you do for many, many years, but why don't you kind of share your background and your role there at Northern Ozaukee?
Sure. My role has evolved greatly. I started working here in 2007. It was a time period where teachers, it was hard to get a teaching job. My background is in education. I graduated from the University of Wisconsin in Madison, and there were a lot of applicants out, unlike what it is today, but it was hard to get a job. So the first role I had in this district was a 4K part-time teacher. And my husband and I, looked at the pros and cons, and we basically said, it's a foot in the door. Once you get in, then showcase your work and see where it goes from there. But fortunately, we were able to swing the part-time position, and the rest is history. The next year, I was asked to take over a second grade position that became available. I was in that role for 8 years. A unique thing that came up in like 2013-ish was I wanted to dabble in this Facebook group world. It was kind of taboo. Not a lot of people really, showcased student work on Facebook yet. I went to my administrator at the time, and I kind of, in our district, was known to take risks. And she said, okay, hesitantly, because she's like, I trust you. I trust you know what you're doing. I trust you know how you're setting this up so our student work isn't just out there for the public. And it was awesome. The families loved it. And, deep down, I think that's a seed that was planted to help me get to where I am today. And then a few years down the road, this learning coach position became available. And our superintendent at the time, asked if it would be something I'd be interested in. And, I said, why not? So I kind of started to transition out of the classroom into this role of being supportive for our staff. We have an awesome staff here, and it was a time where I could just be supportive to them. I could listen, I could collaborate, I could help them accomplish things that they wanted in their classroom, that they just needed a little extra push, or somebody just to say it's okay to step out of the box and do something different. So I did that for a couple of years, and then, like everywhere, we experienced some budget cuts, and things had to change, and I was included in that. So I still have a partial role as that learning coach, but then I kind of stepped into the media specialist. I have a role in our elementary library, but it's kind of awesome because I get to design what I want to do in that class, with third, fourth, and fifth graders. And we learn about graphic designing and website design and coding. And, they've given me a lot of freedoms to do what I want with that class as well. But then I also get to manage our social media, which is, the passion that I have for telling our district story, and, why I connected with you so many years ago and just keep coming back.
Yeah,
so that's how I got here.
You've done so much work. It's just interesting. I love to hear your, because most people that are in this role, Lori, are like either former journalists, or are you ever a
Which
former
I am not.
journalist?
I'm
Probably
definitely not. No.
But a journalist or a teacher, or you
Mm-hmm.
come from the education background. And so you come from that education background. But that fact that you described yourself as one that's kind of willing to take risks, I think with, definitely with social media, like you have to put yourself out there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody listening, if you don't like to take risks, well, then you and I need to hang around more, because I like to push people out of their comfort zone a little bit. And sometimes it works even, right, Lori?
I'm here. This is a little bit of a risk for me today. I will have to admit that. sometimes I think people get the why me, or I'm not good enough for this. And I experienced that today. I've listened to many of Andrea's podcasts. I've spent time with her, and she interviews a lot of heavy hitters in this world. I'm like, I don't know why me, but she saw something in what I do. So here I am. So I'm taking this risk.
Yeah, well, it's good stuff, and we're going to link up to all of Northern Ozaukee School District's social media pages, so you can see the kind of work that Lori's doing now. Lori, you're really, I mean, in a very part-time role with the social media because you have so much else on your plate. So talk to me about how social media fits in and what you are actually responsible for then for the school district.
Well, it keeps growing. I maintain our district Facebook page. Several years ago, we had the elementary, the middle, the high school, the district page, and with Andrea's and her group's fabulous suggestion, we did consolidate down into one page, one voice, and it's been great. It's been great. We also have a unique situation where we're 4K through 12 under one campus. So it's easy to be one voice. We're all in the same spot. Now that doesn't work for everybody, but it works for us.
Yeah, and how many students are you for K through 12?
We're roughly 650.
Okay. Yeah. So any of you guys that are listening that have, 30 campuses,
correct,
and
that doesn't work.
It doesn't work, but a lot of the smaller schools, it works great. So, all right, district Facebook.
Yep. And I maintain our elementary Instagram page, OES Learning, which that was our way to still give our elementary teachers, students, administrator a voice on social media without having their own Facebook page. It has worked for us up until this point. We're trying to weigh out the pros and cons of transitioning into a district Instagram page versus just elementary. But when they have the dress up days or the quirky things that elementary has, the parades around the hallway, it's just an easy way to jump on Instagram. We know it's only going for the most part to elementary parents and community. So we have that. And then we also this year kind of went more heavily into YouTube. Every week we run a Tuesday Talk video highlighting something that's happening in our district, and that is a place where we house those. We've done some live videoing there, some of our concerts, just trying to promote that more because it's another platform that we're using, and we're utilizing that on our website to kind of drive traffic back and forth to each place. So those, I think, are our three major platforms of social media.
Okay, and we'll make sure to link all of those. I didn't realize that your elementary page was your Instagram presence, but I like the fact that you said, hey, there's a lot going on in the elementary, maybe they don't have their own Facebook page, but to give them that spot. And even if eventually you evolve into having a district Instagram and still keep that elementary Instagram, that can still be powerful. So
yeah, for us, it just really works well because, like I said, there are just interesting things that happen in elementary school that don't necessarily go out to the full Facebook community. They don't need to know about some of the fundraisers that are due, or just different things that happen in the elementary school. So that seems to work for us.
Yeah. So you've really taken a deep dive into analytics. And I know that relates because you are a lifelong learner, Lori. What's your most recent certification that you got? You got some kind of a digital marketing something, right?
Yeah. So I went, because sometimes I feel a little stagnant and want to, continue to learn. In 2001, after, everybody was hit with the COVID 2020 shut in, I'm just like, what am I going to do with my life? Like, I just need something different. And there was a project here at school that I was involved in, and it was deeply rooted in digital marketing and analytics and how to drive traffic to your website and SEO and all of it. And it was something that I had no idea what people were talking about at the table. And that really frustrated me because I don't like sitting at a table being the one on the outside looking in. So I went home and I really talked with my husband, and I'm like, you know what, this is something I think I want to do. I think it'll benefit me in my position at school, it'll just benefit me in understanding the world that we live in, because we're constantly inundated with media marketing. I looked up a few programs. I chose the Northwestern University Kellogg School of Management. They had an online 8-month digital marketing course that covered everything from, how target personas to moving people through the customer funnel. And I'm like, what is this? What are you talking about? And I realized that it was over my head at that moment. And then the more I got into it, I'm like, oh, I can see how this directly impacts education right now, and open enrollment, and targeting students and families, and trying to drive traffic to your school, and why, and everything. And it was at that moment I'm just like, this does make sense. It completely is what the social media world that I'm in, that I thought was like, let's do a cute little post and have it live out on Facebook, and it's great. But then I'm like, well, it could be so much more. This cute little post could then, lead people to our website or our YouTube channel, or, a tour of a family who's moving to the district. And it just kind of opened my eyes, and how everything kind of worked together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If I can get that link from you to the program that you took, I'd
Yeah.
love to give that to other people. So
Yeah.
what really was able to happen, because you got some of that training, was you started to look at those analytics. So how has some of that helped your social media efforts?
Yeah. So I basically called an administrative meeting this summer and said, we have a captive audience on our Facebook page. It's growing. We know people are viewing it. We know people are looking at it more than our website and our district newsletter. Let's use it. So we took a deeper dive into, like, what are people looking at? What are they? How are they viewing it? What platforms are they going to the most? And we realized that video is king in our district. People like to see what was happening. They like the celebrations and they like the photos, but they loved the videos, and even some of the longer videos of, like, our promotional videos, or I don't know, just our live videos of, like, parades or our state walk. We do, if a student or a team goes to state in athletics or a different event, we do a parade around the school, and people just really gravitated towards them. So we started to develop a strategy to target more videos, and what kind of videos, and what we were going to showcase. And strategically, we wanted to do them in places in our district that were updated, because, we had a referendum that passed in 2018. We had a lot of work done. COVID hit, then we didn't have visitors. So we had this beautiful space and people weren't in our building. So we also use these videos to strategically showcase some of our new facilities.
That's awesome. So you've really jumped into video, and you've had to learn a lot, I'm sure.
I have had to learn a lot, because, like many people in this role, we are a one-person team, or maybe you pull in a few people here or there with some expertise to help. But yeah, I do a lot of the content creation, the writing, the editing, the producing, a lot of it. So it's been fun. I've used YouTube a lot to learn, but my craft is growing, and it's exciting to showcase our district in a positive light and tell a story.
Yeah. So what I'd love for you to do is be able to share with me and share with our listeners one of the videos that you're most proud of. And I know you've shared quite a few. We
Yeah.
In our membership group that you're a part of, where we kind of support and inspire and train, you've shared some of those videos. And so I think that'd be awesome to share one of those. And then what kind of software programs, like software or hardware, do you need to create the videos, like maybe the one that you're going to share with our listeners?
So recently I created our district promotional video. And as I mentioned, I'm a novice video creator and editor. I stick to iMovie. I have a MacBook, on my iPhone, Canva. I use Canva a lot if there's small little clips, if I need to have a little bit more graphic control over, words or graphics that I want to overlay over the video that I can't do with iMovie. But that's about it. So anybody who says I can't do it, I do it with some pretty limited tools. And I've just either learned, asked, or searched. And that's basically where my craft has come from.
That's awesome. And you don't have to be a master of all of the different video type platforms.
No.
You just have to know one. And I just recently, we just had a referendum a couple months back with my school district, and I had to put some videos together. I have Camtasia. I don't have a Windows or a Mac. So I have Windows. And so I bought this program. It's like $150, Camtasia, but you could use Adobe Rush or, Adobe Premiere, some of those. But I was having problems because the video was so long and I had so many snippets that it aired out, Lori. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to cut the snippets down on my phone and then email them and only have these little snippets. Well, then the voice didn't match the lips. So finally, even iMovie on your phone, you are able to add words, you're able to add background music. And I'm not sure about B-roll of over the audio, but you might be able to do that from your phone. But there is a lot that you can do with very limited, like iMovie's free on your iPhone. So, and Canva's free for the most part. And so those are all free tools. It's just whether, hey, do you want to, invest and learn how to do it? And I don't know about you, Lori, but my school then after I made those was like, oh my gosh, you are Superwoman.
Well, they did appreciate it. Let me tell you that. They were very appreciative of the outcome. It took a minute to get to there, but to the outcome. But yeah, everybody thought it was great. But I will suggest this year I did add a external microphone, and that has been, a game changer as well, because audio, if you can have the best video if you want, if people can't understand what people are saying, they're going to turn it off. So that I use a Rode Go 2 with a lavalier, and I bought an adapter that it can go right into my phone as well. So, I'm out and about and want better audio, I just adapt it to my phone, or I connect it to the camera. So that, if people are listening to this and they're like, we want to do more video, that's what I would suggest first, is a microphone to either go into a camera or connect with your phone.
Okay, awesome. And obviously, if you're doing a longer interview, then you'd want to have a tripod and some of those things.
Yep.
Any other tips or tricks you want to share around video?
It takes time and patience, but it's worth it, I think. I think people love seeing what's happening in your school.
Yeah. And even if it's not all perfect, like you're doing some perfectly edited stuff.
Oh, no.
But I'm sure you're doing a lot of stuff that's just kind of in the moment or whatever, and you're getting good engagement on that as well.
Yeah. So this isn't social media related, but we have a fine arts night in our district, and the elementary art teacher, who was a state art educator this year, one of the months. So she's up and coming, and she's awesome at what she does. But we are collaborating and putting QR codes next to student art where people can come and like scan, and then they get to see the student talking about their art. So that's been fun. And that literally was my phone, the lavalier mic, and it was a 30-second video, uploaded it to YouTube. It was super simple, but just different ways that we're trying to figure out how to connect video and interaction and multimedia in our school.
So, and did you use some kind of QR code generator, or Canva can generate QR codes too, I think?
Yeah, I did not use Canva. We have another QR code generator at our school just because we're trying to do more with analytics and tracking and various things like that. So yes, there are free ones out there, easy to use. Literally, I had my third grader, my child, who's here in the morning with me, making some of them for me. So it's pretty simple. Yeah.
So I just want to restate what you just shared. And it's
Yes,
not
I got
exactly
off
social
topic. I'm
media.
sorry.
No, no,
No,
no. I
no.
think it's awesome. You
Yeah,
are really engaging an in-person event with, instead of like having to have like a video showcasing right next to a piece of art,
right.
everybody's got a video, their own video thing. And most of them, maybe not, if you live with teenagers, they always have one AirPod in, right? Like
Right
always.
here.
Oh yeah, see, you're my teen daughter.
Yeah.
So you always have the AirPod in. So they can easily then scan the QR code,
Yep.
watch the video of the artist behind it talking about how they made something.
Hmm.
That's creating such an experience. And then later, like, even though it's used for an in-person, like, you could put those into a folder, or you could put those into some kind of a playlist that you do end up showing on social media, right?
Right. So there's a lot of ways to take it from there. So it's kind of that, um, it goes back to that digital marketing, brain that got fired in my brain of, how do we continually showcase what we're doing either in-house, through social media, back to our website, and just keep making those connections, to just triangulate all the traffic back and forth.
Yeah. Oh, genius. I love it.
There you
See,
go.
and you didn't
There's my
think that,
tip.
yeah, you didn't think that you'd add value, or that you shouldn't. Oh my goodness gracious. Lori, that's awesome. And I just want to restate, your understanding of all of that through like that program really
Yep.
changes things. Now, I never went through program, but I was baptism by fire, because guess what? I was a single mom with two little girls that had to figure out how to grow a business. And so I got
Yeah.
enveloped into this world of content marketing. And that's why I have a podcast, and that's why I write blogs, and why I do video tips and all this stuff, and get to drive traffic, to get interest, to build me up as this
Hmm.
thought leader. Well, in a school, it's the same thing, right? It's like you have to create these connections, these experiences. People go to you to, get information, and then all of a sudden you're building your brand as your school district. And so you guys do what you need to do to kind of get some of that perspective, because I think it'll change everything, just like it changed everything for you, right, Lori?
Yeah. It's changing as we speak. Like just every meeting I sit in, every conversation I have with teachers or students, community members, I constantly am thinking, how do we make this better? How do we connect more people? How do we get people in the door? How do we get people on our website? How do we have more followers? And sometimes it's daunting, but other times I'm like, we have a great district that we're doing amazing things, and we have an awesome staff and a great community, and we're in this little pocket of Ozaukee County in Wisconsin that many people don't know about us, and I think that they need to know about us,
Yeah,
or
that's
should know about us. They don't need to know about us, but they definitely should. There's a lot of great things happening here.
right. You've been doing social media for a lot of years. And,
A lot of years.
a lot of people listen to my guests and they think they're super women or men, right? Because but there's always struggles. So what continues to be kind of your biggest struggle with social media?
I think content. I think that that's kind of a cliche and a fallback, but getting content is hard, especially when it's a one-person show. We have an email address set up, for staff and community and students. I even encourage them to send stuff to. But it's another thing. Everybody has all the things that they are on their plate, and it's hard. So I think that's the most challenging. I love creating content, but it's time consuming. So I think that's my biggest challenge, and I think it always has been. And I think getting in ruts too sometimes is hard. When you are so focused on celebrating, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's nothing to celebrate right now, and then it's hard to get out of that until you realize, no, we do have stuff to celebrate, and I'm going to go find it. I just don't know what it is right now, but I'm going to find it.
Yeah.
So this year, I did set up, using Google Appointments on my calendar. So I'll chunk out a portion of my day, send out my appointment calendar, and say, hey, sign up for a time. Teachers can either tell me something they want me to come highlight. I can just pull students and we can do some interviews, videos, or just sometimes I sit in their classroom and kind of look for the story that's happening. And then after the fact, I'll email the teacher and be like, hey, I saw this. Can you tell me more? I want to highlight it. So that's been helpful, because then teachers aren't like, we don't want to boast. We're not boastful people. Teachers aren't.
They're humble.
We're all doing amazing things, but to say my thing is better than somebody else's, teachers don't do that. And if I'm just sitting in there and I see something that catches my attention, I'm going to follow up with them and hopefully, swing back and highlight it.
You're like the perfect guest, because I asked what a struggle is, and then before I even have to say, okay, well, how do you address it? You already did. So struggle is content, but what you're saying is to tackle that, I make myself more available and try to get out even more to help capture some of those those moments, those stories that are there. They just need to be seen. And so recommend for everybody out there just thinking about, okay, how often are you getting out? Now, Lori's lucky because they're all in one building. So she's not at a district office where she has to literally get in her car to get to another location. But if you are, you got to do that. It's just, not for everything, but you got to build those relationships, and then hopefully that content will come in, right?
I think having a calendar, like it marked off in my calendar too, gives it more importance. Like, I'm going to hold true to this hour, and this is what I'm doing for this hour, versus, oh, I have to get to go do this, and then I forget because something else gets in my calendar. Mm-hmm. So that has been a game changer, of just that dedicating that time, and then training teachers how to use Google Appointments. That's been fun too, but we're getting there.
Right. So our time's gone by super fast. And so we're already getting to the end, but what would be your best social media tip for our listeners?
Well, I have a couple. One is schedule your content. It's super important. You can step away from your computer knowing that your content is going to be pushed out. Sometimes there are glitches and it doesn't get pushed out how you think it's going to, but still schedule it. It's important. Another thing that this year I did was get students more involved. I have student photographers, trying to do some student takeovers. That hasn't really panned out how I want it to yet, but I'm still going to keep trying and attempting. But try to get students involved, because they know the content other people want to see. Those are the two things.
Absolutely. And then you're part of our membership group. And so, just how has that helped in your roles, kind of support some of the things that you're working on?
Well, that would definitely be a tip as well, because I am a person of one for the most part in this department. And there is always somebody willing to help support, share an idea, celebrate my successes with me. Like, cause I'm like, oh, this is exciting, but nobody here really finds it as exciting as I do. I know that there's somebody in that group that does. It's important, because I feel like I have a team. Like, there are people that I've only met a few people in person from the membership group, but I feel like any person there, if I met them in a room, they would welcome me with open arms and just be excited for the work that they've seen me do, and vice versa. Like, I'm excited for the work that they've done in their district and on their social media pages.
And I'm really putting you on the spot, because I know how I describe the membership group, but if somebody were to ask, Lori, what is this social media membership group that Andrea has? What would be your response to that?
It is a community of professional learners that discuss challenges, triumphs in social media. There's a group of people that is always willing to help answer a question. Social media I have a lot of questions. Like, it's changing all the time. And I can be sitting in a room of all of my administrators, and a question comes up, and literally within seconds, I can fire it off to the group, and somebody is there with an answer. It's happened more than once, and everybody sitting at the table has been floored when it happens. So I just feel like it's that community of professional learners that I need in this position to help me continue to grow.
Well said. And you're even a boot camp graduate as well.
I think everything you've done, Andrea, I've tried to graduate from. I have completely went off the deep end with the social schools for EDU, and Andrea's whatever you're selling, I'm
You're
taking, because
drinking the
it is.
Kool-Aid,
I
Lori.
am
You're
the
drinking the
Kool-Aid.
purple, and it's purple Kool-Aid, right? Grape flavored. Well, you're doing a great job, and the work that you're doing and the benefits you're seeing are directly related to the effort that you're putting in. It's amazing. You guys want to be connected to Lori because she's awesome. So what's the best way to stay connected to you?
I think the best way is through email. You know, I am on social media. I don't have that big of a presence personally or professionally. I'm kind of that mingler out there.
Okay.
But I think email is the best. lmarini@nosd.edu. You know, I'd love to have a conversation. If you have questions about the membership group, like Andrew said, I've been a member for many years. I'd be happy to give any feedback or suggestions through that. But yeah, I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to talk.
Yeah, thanks so much for all that you shared. I think this is really powerful. So everybody listening, I really do want you take a look at the Facebook page, take a look at our Instagram page, take a look at the YouTube, and then we're going to have some of those things linked, like the word wall. She's going to take some pictures of their innovation and inspiration room. We're going to give a link to that marketing course that you took. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Summer's around the corner. That's a different level of content. And then, you know, I always tell people 22, 23, that school year, we're going to make it the best one yet. And I'm excited to see where your social media grows as well, Lori. So thanks for joining us.
I appreciate your time. Yeah, great.
All right, guys. See you guys next time. Next week, we'll have another great guest. So same time, same place. We'll see you guys. Keep telling those stories. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.